Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome in to Open Session. I am Sarah Soul. Today we are streaming this to LinkedIn as well as YouTube. So, from wherever you are tuning in from, please let me know. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so let's do a quick tech check because want to make sure you can hear me and you can see me and that we're all good to go. Okay, amazing. All right, everyone. So today we are having a conversation about something that has been very heavily brought to my awareness. And as you know, in this working with people in high performance, people who really want to be the best at what they do, who are the best at what they do, who are continuing the journey of unraveling life to their highest capacity and potential. And really, that's what these conversations are all about. At the end of the day, whether you are a CEO, a politician, an elite athlete, a mother, a father, every day we wake up and we show up, we are in high performance. Okay. But this conversation today is about authenticity, access, and performance, and what this all really means. And I think this conversation is actually more important than ever because we live in a world today where almost anything can be manufactured in a way, right? We have like what you want to say, how you want to say it. Images can be generated just from your mind's eye into tangible things through the use of artificial intelligence. We have people questioning on the internet, is that a real photo? Is that real? Is that person real? Is this song real? Why is there this battle between what is real and what is not real? Okay. And that isn't the point, okay? Because anything can be curated and manufactured. And despite having access to all this information, to all possibilities, to everything that we could possibly want to know, there is a huge surge of people who are going about their day-to-day life feeling more disconnected than ever. 1,000 ways we can communicate to one another, yet feeling disconnected. What do we think of that? What does that mean? Why are people feeling increasingly disconnected? And it's not a disconnection from me to you. Because again, we are more connected than ever. The question is why are we feeling disconnected from ourselves? And what is the cost of this disconnection when it comes to our performance? There is a key difference that I found in those who operate for performative success versus those who operate for embodied performance. What is the difference? So again, this is not a philosophical question. This is a conversation on human performance. And the question I want you to keep in mind as we go throughout this conversation is, this side, what becomes possible when more of you becomes available? Keep that question in your mind's eye, because it's an important one. And we want to know how much more of us is possible, what we can get access to through our authenticity. Okay, so these are some of the questions and things we are going to explore in today's conversation. So again, welcome. Okay, so I first want to talk about this idea of authenticity. Well, let's first talk about authenticity, okay? Because I feel like people get this idea kind of skewed in their mind about the truth of authenticity. When we often hear people say, just be your authentic self, just operate in authenticity. What does this mean? Okay, is it just be yourself, just express yourself, just say what you want to say and just be who you are, and then that's that? Does it work like that in high performance? Are you the same person always? To an extent, yes. But I want you to think now of this scale of authenticity and truth, okay? Because authenticity, if we talk about it from the lens of vibration, if you are familiar with David Hawkins' scale of consciousness or the map of consciousness, one of the highest forms or the highest vibrational frequencies in which we can operate from is that of love, is that of enlightenment, right? And when you look into it, because of course, when we're curious and we continue to be curious and we look into things, the more information we find, the more we know. And so that doesn't matter. It just matters what you do with what you know, right? Okay. And what we found here is that authenticity radiates an embodied if you operate from an embodied authentic state, you actually vibrate at a higher frequency than that of love. What? How is that possible? It's possible because when you are when you are being in your highest form of authenticity, there is no resistance within. There is no fear within. There is no act that is being put on. You are. And I love this definition and kind of how I speak about authenticity with my clients and how I embody authenticity in my own life is this knowing. The reason why it's such a high vibration in the map of consciousness is because there's no resistance and you're operating from the utmost truth. Your authenticity is not, I'm myself and I'm the same way always. It's throughout your journey of failure, of success, of lessons, of trials, of tribulations, of beauty, of joy, of bliss, of sadness, your life basically. And the evolution of who you've become everything that you've learned and integrated up until this point. Integration of all of that is who you are. And to operate from that, the evolution of you, means that there's nothing that is going to deter you from always performing from your truth. And yes, I know this might sound cliche in a way, but let's think of this. When you are performing something, let's say, let's actually tap into the idea of alter ego, for example, right? We all know about this, especially like in business and in sports. Or let's just say Kobe Bryant, for example, like his coach, they developed this identity, Black Mamba, right? For example, was tapping into an alter ego separate from your authentic self? No. You switched identity. He became Black Mamba on the court and accessed this fire. He accessed this confidence. He accessed flow state. He accessed his highest level of performance. That wasn't because he was acting inauthentically. So let's take the idea of alter ego now, because this is going to play into what we're speaking about when we're talking about access and authenticity. If I have an alter ego and in my mind, I just switch identity into this different persona. And this person, she is nothing like the real version of me. She's more confident. She has better boundaries. She's more blunt. She's a boss. Or the opposite. She's very motherly. She's very nurturing. She's very soft. Like whatever this alter ego that I create, it's not separate from who I truly am. It's an access point. And I love speaking about this now because when we talk about this flow chart here, everything you want to access in your life, whether it's more strength, more power, more joy, more bliss, more laughter, more connection, more confidence, more flow state, whatever the quality it is that you want to embody in this very time and space to execute a certain thing. Like if you're about to lead a conversation or speak in front of 10,000 people, or you're about to do something you've never done for the first time ever, or if like whatever the case is, all of those qualities already exist within you. And that's not, again, this is not me philosophically talking. They exist within you, but perhaps creating that alter ego, like Black Mamba, for example, was the access point. It gave you access to those qualities. Do we see the correlation here? Okay, so when we think about authenticity now and how this relates to performance, we're not exactly saying, okay, let's create all these different alter egos so that we can access all these different things in certain times of our life. Be you, but know how to access these points. Okay, so when we talk about authenticity now, we are operating from alignment, from truth, from values, and of self. So if my values in life are, truth, freedom, value, uh, yeah, valuable experiences, or if it's about discipline or confidence or exploration, whatever your particular values are as a high performer, it doesn't really matter what you do, because all the ways in which you show up authentically and true are in alignment because you have those set of values. Because when we don't operate authentically, what happens? The cost of inauthenticity is internal conflict, right? When we have internal conflict and we are battling between something inside, it is inauthentic because we have a voice, we have expression of truth. And if we create suppression, as we've known before, that's an energy leak. And when we leak energy, that limits our availability for access. We have reduced access. And when we have reduced access, we have reduced performance. Okay, so let's tie this all in now, okay? So it's not to say that, of course, internal conflict comes. I'll share with you that a few weeks ago, I had a concussion. It was my first concussion I've ever had, and I've been, I'm good now, but like throughout that week after having the concussion, I don't know, it literally changed my state. Like it literally had me battling internal beliefs. To be honest with you, I was leaking energy left, right, and center. And through this internal conflict that I was feeling while healing through this, I reduced the access that I had because I was leaking so much energy into this internal conflict that was happening inside me. And this happens all the time. I see this all the time for people who, like athletes who get injured, for example, people who lose deals in businesses. When things don't go your way, or the universe or life or God just detours you massively, what will arise is a conflict. But now, when we're presented with that, we really have to utilize our faith and our strength. But it's more so the knowing and bringing us back to our values. Because once we know, it's not just saying, I value this, I value that, but like, let's take an opportunity to sit down and write down the things that we value. Because once you know that and it becomes a belief, then all our thoughts, all our actions, the way that we breathe, our posture, the way that we experience life, it is going to align with that. And no matter what life throws at you, you're still operating in authenticity. So, that being said, the question is, what becomes possible when more of you becomes available? When you're not experiencing and allowing feelings of fear and stress and shame and pressure and overthinking and resentment and exhaustion and people pleasing into your environment and into your internal environment, you have access to all the access points that are needed because your energy capacity is not being spent on that. If you're trying to run faster, jump higher, lead more people, become a better leader, become a better parent, coach better, you have to free up space. And we have to be able to create that access through being our authentic self and vibrating at that very high frequency. Because once we do, everyone else feels that. People feel that, and how we become integrated into our daily life is also affected. We've talked about these qualities, so let's go over here and really talk about authenticity now. So I want to really take a moment to think about something. And have you actually ever seen somebody and they were doing all the things, right? They're really great at their craft or their talent. They know so much about what it is that they do. They're very skillful, very talented. It's coherent, it's flow state, it's available energy, and it's access when you are authentic. But have you seen someone kind of operate in a way that it looks good? It looks like it fits, but you're like it's still off, like it's still off. And whatever that thing is where you're like, something's still off, it's because there's so much internal conflict, perhaps. There's an energy leak that's happening. There's an act of inauthenticity that is happening. You can see the difference in people when there is performative success versus people who are just embodied. They just know who they are. And whatever life seems to throw at them or how they express their highest potential, they know it comes from a place of their evolution, about not who they are or who they were or the accumulation of past traumas and stories. Yes, we all have that. But it's about where you're going. It's about the expression of your highest potential. Potential does not live in the past. Potential lives presently. Potential is a future word, right? So if potential is a future word, and we want to act and create expression of the highest potential in our performance, we are acting authentically. Even when you create a post, let's just say, for example, like there's a difference between people who are creators. Am I creating content because this is what I think that people are going to like, and it's going to get me X views? This is the content that's going to, like, I see this in so many ways, like follow this particular strategy. Like people are always just trying to win at life, right? Not just win at life, but to also just live expansively, fully, beautifully. I talk about this all the time. We are the blip. If we can find ways internally in the body to create more access, we have to free up space. And once that space is freed up, we remove the interference, because that's what it is. Then we become an expression of our highest potential. And that looks like confidence. That looks like creativity, flow state, leadership, joy. What else did I write there? Recovery, presence, power, connection, impact. That can happen when we are just doing things because maybe other people will like them, because AI says this is the better way to do it and it'll get you more XYZ, more money, more power, more whatever. What do you value? Do you have space? Is there energy leaks? Audit the self. Okay. So I do want to talk about this on a bodily lens here now, because how are you guys feeling about the idea of access? Because in my own personal life, and also in that of my clients, I am often finding people not knowing how to create access. Training day in and day out. And obviously, that repetition creates confidence. That repetition creates mastery. That repetition fuels and builds who you are and need to be to do whatever leadership or sport that you're doing. But if we're here to create magic and to do so while being able to express our highest potential in our performance, then authenticity is the key. Make sense? Okay. So now I want to talk about kind of like where this shows up in the body. And this is important because, you know, people can argue with mindset. People can say like, you know, my mind is not, it's just it's burnt out, it's overloaded. I don't have the mental capacity for all of this, or vice versa, right? Or people could say that about what their thoughts are and how that is in relation to performance. It happens a lot because the mind is obviously such a huge component of our belief system, what we feel, what we can actually access, what keys do we have available to access parts of us. But now when we talk about the body, I think this is one of the most honest things that we possess. It's honest is a key word. And it's honest because the mind, it can rationalize things, right? It can say, well, this is good for me. This isn't good for me. Okay, I've got to be stronger. I just got to get it done. I got to do what I need to do. Yes. And that is so much power and so much fuel. But taking authenticity and access and performance into the lens of somatics now, we we just know that the relationship between who we are authentically and what we can have access to is something that shows up very heavily within the body. When I'm doing body work on people, you can instantly feel where, especially when we're doing like fascial stretching, myofascial release, just really working on an energetic level too with the body. Like you can see where people, well, I don't know like who does this, but when I do body work, it's like you can actually feel the amount of build up of tension. And it's not just tension, it's disconnect. It's sadness. It's fear. And it's literally living within in the body. And I say this because despite how it may sound in the world of high performance, the idea is that we have to set ourselves free. And if we are operating inauthentically from what are people going to think, am I going to be people pleasing? Am I overthinking? Am I feeling shame and pressure? Is there fear, exhaustion that is living inside my body right now? It shows up. And this is undeniable. It shows up in the body and it's felt. It can literally manifest your own illness, sickness, the lack of recovery that is possible for you. Imagine if you can recover 10 times faster and deeper. You can do that through authenticity, through removing the interference of what gives you access to this deep recovery. It's all possible. If people are constantly getting not just re-injured, but probably maybe repeating the same patterns that they have had throughout their life, constantly dealing with the same kind of stressors, of pains and ailments that are present within the body, we have to look at the body. We have to see, what is it costing this person to operate in authenticity? What is it costing this person to hold on to so much unknowingly? Free yourself, people. We must free ourselves. Okay? And this isn't me just saying this because it sounds good and that's the whole point of why we're here, but like, if you want access, we have to remove the interference. And that is on the whole human system. Okay? It is mind and it is body and it is energy and it is spiritual. That talent, the training that you put in, you can amplify it through removing interference, through getting the keys that you need to access parts of your body and your mind that literally unlock higher levels of performance. Again, all those qualities that you think of, that you like, you know what, if I could just be more XYZ, if I could just, whatever that goal it is that you're working towards, you're training towards, that you're doing day in and day out, you have it. You have access to it. Okay? So creating access is the work of what I do. I help people on a bodily level, on a mental level, on a nervous system level. It is this at the system to discover what's standing in the way of my joy, what's standing in the way of deeper connection to the self. Why does this even matter in the first place? And what becomes possible when more of you becomes available? What happens when you can actually understand how we operate in our highest level of authenticity? What does that look like in our craft, in our talent, in our sport, in our business? Okay, beautiful. So I want you to answer that question. What becomes possible when more of you becomes available? And if that is something that you've thought about before, or maybe have not thought about before, it's a very good question to really consider. And maybe sometimes you don't know, and that is okay. But the exploration of your highest potential, what is possible? What keys do you need to access to unlock your body, your mind, your authenticity, so that you can operate in the expression of your highest levels of performance in whatever capacity that means for you? So thank you for watching. If you are, I'll just take a few minutes to speak about, my offers and just kind of like what's going on with this world, this beautiful world that I'm in high performance, which is, I've got a couple things going on. Right now in Toronto, if you're in Toronto on July 26th, I'm having a very unique, immersive, somatic, integrative nervous system level experience for high performers who are looking to unlock. It's called Body Unlocked. If you want more information on that, let me know. I do have my 90-minute shift sessions. These could be virtual or in person. So 90-minute sessions where we dive into creating one significant shift, mind, body, soul, in relation to your performance. And I'm opening a couple spots for the month of June for the Access, which is my 90-day container where we do a deep dive and really remove the interference to create access to what it is that you need to operate in your highest potential, in your highest joy, in your highest bliss, in your highest strength, in your highest peace, in your highest self, whatever that may be, whatever that looks like. And that, again, that is remote. If you are nearby, we can integrate some in-person stuff as well. And yeah, I really Hope you enjoyed this conversation. Authenticity has been something that I've been not only embodying, but speaking about for, I feel like it's been 6 years or something like that. Because when I first came across that word, it had a totally different meaning than what it means to me now. It's not just self-expression. It's not just be who you are. It's what values do you have? Where has your evolution brought you? What do you have access to that will help you remain and be so confident and strong and passionate and whatever it is that you are, who you are, be it and be it fully. Be it raw, be it true, be it big, be it you. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Sarah Soul, and I'll see you in the next open session.